another episode of Sex After. I'm your host, Ashley Cobb, and we are here today talking with Torrey Lisa. So today's episode is about sex after sex works. And so Torrey is a licensed sex worker. Now,
Yes.
Tori, so you're gonna have to explain to my audience, okay, so what a licensed sex worker is, and explain what that is first.
Sure. So at the ripe age of 52 was my first day becoming a legally licensed sex worker in the state of Nevada. A lot of people don't know that the only place where you can find legal brothels in the US is in the state of Nevada. I have worked in three different houses. I'm currently legally licensed in Nevada as we speak. So I have a unique perspective because I am a certified, government certified hoe.
Okay, listen, a government certified. So, what in the world made you at 50 something years old say, you know what, I am going to work in a brothel. This is what I want to do. This is what my my goal in life is at this age. How did that happen?
Well, it happened because I was a perpetual good girl and I was with the same man for 26 years, although it was off and on. We actually were married to each other twice. So it was kind of a situation where I was a military wife. He was gone a lot. So we had a lot of strain on the marriage. And then we got back together again and on again, off again. So at the age of 49, it was time to go. I had put in all my devotion and dedication to that marriage. It was not healthy. It was not healthy for me. So I filed for divorce. And then I realized I'd raised all three of my boys. I by then was a grandmother. And I said, what am I going to do with my life? Like, I'm 49. What is dating even going to look like, let
Mm-hmm.
alone the rest of my life? So
Mm-hmm.
I started dating. I had made some decisions for myself because I had identified through the course of my marriage, despite the fact that I was very faithful to him, I was attracted to women as well as men. And I had to cut off, and he knew this. Um,
Okay.
I had to cut off parts of myself, if you will, to stay devoted to one man.
Okay.
So when I was doing this analysis of my life and where I want to take it forward, I decided I'm not going to cut myself off from any aspect of myself, including my sexuality. So I dipped my toes into the dating world of dating men and women, realized that I'm not bisexual, I'm pansexual. So all genders, all presentations, humans are just attractive to me. So I started dating multiple people and I identified more as polyamorous. I did go to swinger parties and things like that. So I was getting my groove on
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
quite a bit and found
Mm-hmm.
out that I had some unique skill sets. Um,
Okay.
the other
What are
part
those skill
was
sets?
I'm known as an oral queen in the porn industry because I'm also an active porn star. So
Okay. Go ahead.
um, I decided to start doing art in the form of burlesque. I was doing art in the form of photo shoots and modeling. I was also entering into a lifestyle of BDSM and kink and fetish. So I was doing photo shoots centered around kink and fetish. And then I started publishing that online. Then I started getting a lot of attention because this gray haired granny who has this kinky twist was a great appeal. It was also about kink positivity, body positivity, sex positivity, all the positivities. So I got scooped up by the first studio I worked with in the porn industry. That went so well that I just kept doing it. And now I travel and tour full time, doing nothing but various forms of sex work, including my work in Nevada. I also actively film. I'm going to the AVN award show in Vegas next in the next few weeks. I just filmed in Cancun a few months ago. I was at the Exotica Expo. So, like, I'm very active in the porn industry. So, I get to have really great sex a lot.
So
And I'm
a couple a,
55 now. I'm very
so a
proud of that.
couple so a couple questions. One,
Yeah.
so how did your grown children take their mother is now a porn star? Like, how did that go?
Well, rolling it back to when I was making the decisions about dating multiple people and coming out as queer. Okay.
Okay.
I sat my middle son and my youngest son. I'm estranged from my oldest son.
Okay.
He's teen dad, and so that was
Okay.
part of the after
Hmm.
effects of the divorce. Um, I sat down with my middle son and told him first, and I presented it as this. I am very public about the things I'm doing in my journey post divorce. And one of those things is I'm going to be dating multiple people, including women. And I wanted to, as out of respect for you, I'm going to be very open about it. But out of respect for you, I want to see if you have any objections to that or if you have any concerns or anything. And he just looked at me with his deadpan face and just blinked a couple times. And I'm thinking in my head, oh no, this is not going well. He goes, well, now I know where I get it from.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
okay.
really affirming for him because he was polyamorous in college and had been dating men and women, that type of
Okay.
thing. And
Okay.
he had been keeping it a secret. So it was a big relief for him to go, oh my God, I have a parent that's going to actually accept me for who I am. So it was
Right.
extremely validating. So I was just as shocked as anyone else that it went over as well as it did because I thought there'd be
Okay.
some sort of objections or upsetness. And he said, as long as you're safe and happy, mom, that's all I care about. So I knew I did a good job as a mom when I got that type of response.
Yes.
Then I sat my youngest son, who was a senior in high school and was just wrapping up graduating and so on. He was 18. And I sat him down like the next weekend and I said, hey, I want to, I already told your brother, I'm going to give you the benefit of this information. And, I was explaining, okay, so polyamorous means, well, and he goes, mom, stop, stop, just stop. And I thought, oh no, this is not going as well. And my stomach just, hit the floor. And he said, Mom, you're talking to the kid that took two girls to prom. I know what it is. So
Okay. Okay.
he was like, you know what? It's actually a relief for me as your child to know that you're happy, that you're safe, and that I have a parent that will accept me for whoever I date. Or
Hmm.
whoever I choose to. That child is now, obviously older and is in a relationship with a trans woman. So, like, they have
Okay.
had really great support from me, and I've gotten really great support from them. So, I've been very
Okay.
fortunate,
Good.
and I know it's a very privileged position to be in because not everybody has that type of support for dating multiple people at the same time, let alone people from different genders at the same time, let alone doing porn, let alone doing full time sex work. Like, I know
Right.
how lucky I am.
So, as we know, so porn is entertainment, right?
Yes,
So it's like it's like a movie that features sex. So
correct.
real life sex and porn are not always the same thing. So how does being a porn star interfere with your romantic relationships in real life?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I have dated successfully. I have had relationships fizzle away because when I moved to Nevada to do sex work full time, I actually ended on a good note all partnerships that I had because I wanted to focus on work. So we ended on
Okay.
a good note. Like we could, if I wanted to, I could pick up where we left off. We've all evolved in that amount of time because I have been out
Okay.
in Nevada for 3 years. I'm currently in Colorado celebrating the holidays with my family, and I have a new grandbaby, by the way, so that's exciting.
Ah.
But in porn, you're right. There is an entertainment value. There is
Hmm.
showcasing of certain
Hmm.
things, and it's for the
Hmm.
camera and for the viewer. It's for,
Hmm.
not just the male gaze, but for whoever
Hmm.
is watching it. So there's different types of approaches to porn. You have POV, which is point of view. You have, I have full production sets and so on,
Okay.
and I also do amateur solo stuff. Anything in between. I've done everything from orgies to what have you. But I think a really great example is this in sex work. See, I'm known as an oral queen in porn.
Hmm.
And what you see in porn is friction. Okay,
Hmm.
it's a mechanical process. For me, it's very
Hmm.
intuitive, it's very intimate, and I'm very, very good at it, but it doesn't exactly look as good on camera the way I do it as what it would show up on camera in porn. So I have
Hmm.
had to do a hybrid of some of my skill sets, which actually do stand out in the porn industry because it's not just like everybody else is doing. It's not cookie cutter, friction and mechanical. For me, there's other multitasking that goes on with it. So people
Okay.
approach me as the porn star and they say, "Can you do that with me?" And I'll say, "I can do it better than what you see on camera."
Okay. So have you found that because as for me as a sex educator, I have found that when dating, once I tell men that I work in sex ed or the sex industry, like
Mhm.
they can't really focus on anything else. Like they're just only focused on that one thing. And so I don't feel like they really, in a lot of cases, they really give get to know me, the person. They just
Correct.
want to know that one thing. So do you feel the same about when it comes to
Yes,
dating?
there is an incredible amount of emotional intelligence that is required on both ends for any
Okay.
partnership when you are in the sex work industry. What I have found is the most successful relationships and partnerships that happen within the industry, both for myself or for others, are people dating within the sex work industry.
Okay.
Me dating a civilian, let's say an
Mm-hmm.
accountant that lives in my town, great guy, checks all the boxes. But when it comes to the actual intimacy part, they get a little intimidated. In fact, I see that just
Mm-hmm.
in clients that come in to see me. They're nervous because they think that they have to show up as this, porn star to match the energy that I bring. And I welcome all levels of experience and enthusiasm. Okay. I
Okay.
actually end up teaching a lot to people who are inexperienced. So people get in their heads about it. They really overthink it. They think that somehow it's a competition or somehow what I do on set can't be preserved. I do have certain things that I will not do in my sex work, much like in the movie Pretty Woman, where Vivian would not kiss somebody unless she
Mm-hmm.
loved them. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
the same thing. Yes, I offer kissing in my services, but there are certain things that I will not offer. I love it immensely, but I save it for a partner because they've earned the privilege to have that deeper level of intimacy that nobody gets to touch.
Okay.
So, keeping it clean. I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, there are certain things that I will and won't do with a client versus with a partner. Right now, I'm still very career focused. So,
Okay.
yes, I will go out on a dinner date or something with somebody, but I'm not trying to build any relationships right now because I have way too much going on. And I travel about 9, 10 months out of the year. It would have to be a long distance relationship on top of all the other stuff. So, to be fair to me and to anybody that wants to have any type of partnership with me, that is the stage I'm in right now. And I just don't have time for a full time investment in building a partnership. And quite frankly, I enjoy my own company. I don't need to be partnered to feel whole. So I
Okay.
don't
So
actively seek it. Like I'm perfectly fine um, traveling solo as much as I
mhm.
do, or traveling with the group that I do filming with and so on. Like I'm cool with that. And a
Mhm.
lot of people think that somehow it defines you and your value to be partnered, and to me it's just not even, it doesn't define me at all. Do I miss having partnerships? From time to time I do, but I also am very, very busy
You're
in
busy.
the bedroom in other ways. So it's not like
Mhm.
I'm going dry over here.
Right. Right. So, do you tell when you meet someone that does not when you meet someone, do you tell them that you're a sex worker, or do you tell them up front, or do
They
you wait?
probably already they probably already know because I use my real
Okay.
name in the industry. Torrey Lisa
Okay.
is my legal name. It's on my
Okay.
birth certificate. So I'm very loud and proud about it, which is why I went to my adult children to say, "Hey, are you going to have a problem?" Because I intend to be loud and proud about everything in this
Mhm.
journey of mine. How I date, the kiki things I do are going to be on display on the internet. Like, I just tell them, just stay off Pornhub, like, I just tell
Really,
them,
please stay
like,
off.
avoid certain parts of the internet because I am everywhere. So if somebody meets me and doesn't know who I am, it's because they met me somewhere in public or in a
Okay.
social circle setting. And even
Hmm.
then, the people, like I just went to a couple of different Christmas parties over the holidays with new friends, but they knew what I did and they were fine with if the subject came up at their dinner table, it would not be a bad thing to talk about it. I surround myself with people who support the work I do. So equally, if somebody, a stranger, says, "Hey, I'm interested in you," I just lay it all out. It's like, okay, well, how much
Okay.
of me have you seen on the internet, and what questions do you have?
Okay.
Very open book.
What questions do men typically have when you say that? What kind of questions do they have typically?
Oh gosh. Sometimes they want to know what goes on behind the scenes on a porn set,
Okay.
how that all works.
Okay.
A lot of men want to know how to get into the porn scene. Trust me, there are a lot of men that approach
Really?
me, a lot of men. Majority of my clientele are either equal age, like retirees, who have been married their whole lives and maybe their wife passed away. A
Okay.
lot of my clients are actually widowers and they want to get back out into the dating world, but they feel like I've only been with one woman for 50 years. What do I do? You know? And then I also have the younger guys, and it's the younger guys that I'm speaking about in this conversation for the most part, although I have
Okay.
had some more mature men approach me and say, I want to get into porn. And could you be the way to get in? Like they will
Okay.
approach me with, can you get me into the porn industry? That gets a little exhausting because I'm not here
Hmm.
to teach
I'm
people
not a
how
talent
to be
recruiter.
porn stars. I work with professional porn stars who already know
Hmm.
what to do. We all know,
Right.
what our testing requirements are and what the federal paperwork is. We know how to have camera presence and, situational awareness in an orgy. And like, I'm not here to teach somebody how to get in. So I do get that question a lot. And I'll tell them, hey, there are male porn stars out there that do teach that. Go talk to them, and I will send
Hmm.
them that way. But sometimes they just
Okay.
they just want to act like they're a porn star. So they sign up for my porn star experience, which is a whole different energy than say a girlfriend experience. So as far as dating, I have dated within the sex work world and had the best success with that.
Okay. So, how has being a sex worker um, helped your sex life, and then how has it hindered your sex life?
Ooh, that's a great question. It has helped me you have to have a measure of self-esteem and confidence to get into this type of work. Period.
Okay.
I don't care who you are. You have to have really great confidence. So when I say that it has made me more confident, it was because I started off with a whole hell of a lot of confidence, maybe too much,
Okay.
Okay. But at the same time, it's the feedback I get from the men about, and women, trust me, I see everybody. It's not just men, but as a whole, mostly men are the ones seeking
Mhm.
sex workers. The type of feedback I get, because I'm a very affirming person in the bedroom, is how life changing it has been for them, how it has helped
Okay.
them. So
Okay.
that's the best part, knowing that I am having a positive impact on people in various ways. The
Okay.
drawback is a lot of times, and this is an unfortunate side effect of being a sex worker. Sometimes people come in with preconceived ideas about sex
Hmm.
workers. They assume we're not educated. They assume that this is our last ditch effort to be able to put food on the table. I don't have to do sex work. I've got, like I said, I am a savvy businesswoman with many different brands in my fire. So when people book time with me, they're like, are you okay? Are they trafficking you? Like they just think that this
Like,
is
baby, I am 50. No one traffics a
like
50-year-old. I'm here
like
because I want
they
to
don't
be.
realize how educated I am and how I choose to do this, And
Right.
so the drawback is sometimes they come in with these preconceived, ill-informed ideas, or they come in with a level of disrespect.
Ah,
And
yeah.
trust me, I turn away more money then people put hundreds of thousands of dollars I've turned away just because somebody was disrespectful and I couldn't redirect them to be more respectful.
Okay.
I will not see
Uh,
somebody who does not have respect for what we are exchanging from
and
start to
that's
finish.
good. That's good.
Yes,
Especially just because you're paying me, you don't get to be disrespectful.
that is correct.
You
I am in
don't.
full control. I have free will. I can say no anytime I want to anything I want. Now, mind you, my menu is extensive. The likelihood of getting a no is because you talked to me in a way that was disrespectful or you felt entitled in some way because they assume we're desperate. I'm not desperate. I
Hmm.
love what I do. I pick
Right.
and choose my clients. They may be picking me, but I in turn get final say.
Right.
Period.
I can
So
say no.
it has helped, and it's a drawback. I can't say that it's hurt or that it's been bad. It's just a natural part of what I do. And so, sometimes guys will email and they'll say, I'm looking for the best head, like they're just so just and I don't reply. I just don't reply. If you have not wowed me in how you talk to me, then we're not going to talk.
So, out of curiosity, so what type of services? So, if someone was watching this and they was like, "Oh, I'm curious." So, like, can you like give me like a quick rundown of some services that you offer? What kind of services do you offer?
Oh my gosh. There are so many.
Okay.
It's what I don't offer maybe might narrow
Okay.
things down, but I need
Okay.
to
Let's
know
do it
how
that way.
clean I need to keep this. Remember the
No, you
whole
can. No, you can
save.
listen. Say what you
Okay.
want. Yeah, this is.
Needed to make sure.
Yeah, say what you want.
Okay. I save anal for partners.
Okay.
And a lot of times guys will say, well, will you do Greek, which is the code word for anal? Or, they'll just come out and say it, I want anal. Okay. Um, I'm sorry, but I don't offer that. However, we can do
Hmm.
ass play. You're just not going to
Okay.
have penis to anus penetration. You fingers,
Right.
tongue, whatever. Like penetration is allowed. It's only allowed a certain way.
Got
Okay.
you.
I never offer it for first time clients. Never
Okay.
offer it for first time clients. So one time a guy came in,
Okay.
he asked for it. In fact, this has happened more than once, but here's an example. Came in and said, well,
Hmm.
this is what I want. Okay, honey. Well, that is something that you earn. Once you've been established as a repeat client, we can have that discussion, but it is not going to happen today. And he was like, oh, so
Okay.
you don't like it, huh? And I was like, actually, I love it. and you're making assumptions. So again, I'm letting you know that there is a segue to that. It is just not going to happen today, right now.
Hmm.
I don't get involved with anything that's a biohazard in the sense of blood or
Okay.
scat. Okay,
Okay. Got you.
giving or receiving. Now, you will
Got you.
find that I have done photo shoots that are kink and fetish related that do involve blood, but it's mine. I don't
Got you.
have a crossover, if you will.
Okay.
So I won't make
Okay.
people bleed.
Okay.
And but like kink and fetish and so on, there's a whole lot of stuff that I do. Like I just recently had a booking where the guy specifically wanted squirting and fisting. There is a clip
Okay.
of me on Pornhub. It's a teaser clip. But basically, I specialize in fisting. There's pretty much no wrong request. It's just the tone and how you ask it that would make it wrong.
So, question.
Yeah.
So, before you got into this life, in your marriage, were you guys having like kinky sex, or was it just regular, traditional sex? Like, how did you get into the kink side of it? Like,
I was
were
the
you and your
one.
husband?
Yeah. So I was the one that was saying, let's spice things up. He was more
Got you.
vanilla. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I have always had an oral fixation my whole life, but I
Okay.
couldn't deep throat with him. That is a skill set that
Okay.
I got to practice later, and I'm really, really good at
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I don't have a gag reflex.
Okay.
So all of those skill sets come together to
Hmm.
make me the oral queen I am. But in the marriage itself, there was a whole 3 year stretch where there was no intimacy,
Oh,
no
geez.
sex. Yeah, it was
Okay.
it was pretty bad. Like I said, it was time to
Yeah.
go.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and there were, 6 months at a time, a year at a time. There were those other periods. So
Hmm.
towards the last decade or so of my marriage, it was just becoming thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. So, and he was just kind of a smash and dash kind of guy, you know.
Okay.
He'd get his and then he was out, and he would
Hmm.
give every so often, but it was
Okay.
like pulling teeth to get pleasure, the reciprocity
Okay.
of pleasure.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
what I do now is I was shocked to find how many men out there are givers because I associated my 26 years with a guy that would give every once in a while. It was shocking to me when I first started dating that there are men out there that all they care
They
about
are.
is your pleasure, and they will book me
They
just to see how many times they can get me to come in the amount of time that
ah.
we have together. Or one guy I dated, he still holds the record, and we're still
Okay.
friends to this day. But like, he got me to squirt 9 times in 15 minutes.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, he was
Jesus.
very
Okay.
adept.
He
He knew the
was.
unlock code on me, but he took the time
Yeah.
to learn my body to know how to get it to respond that way. So there are
Okay.
men out there that are actually incredibly in tune with a woman's body, or are willing to become in tune with a particular woman's body. And that was
Hmm.
really, it was kind of a mind fuck for me to realize that there are men out there that were like that. And so I've been very fortunate to have really great clients. That's because I use a lot of discernment and I say no quite a bit.
Okay.
I also have really hot sex in the porn industry with with some amazing hotties. Like, like I cannot complain. But I think that in the marriage, the spiciness, I was the one introducing it. At one point, I said, "Hey, you're gone all the time. I'm gone all the, or I'm home all the time. Why don't we have an open marriage?" He didn't like to share,
Hmm.
So I was the one that was
Okay.
like the pioneer of introducing new things. But it was not until I left him that I really got to let myself become unleashed. And I'm
Hmm.
writing a book about that journey titled Unleashed because I felt like I was unleashing myself, not just from this little category of vanilla that I had experience with, but I was unleashing myself through the kink and fetish and BDSM world, but I was also unleashing my sexuality and also the expectations of society. A woman with gray hair and two grandbabies, how should she act, and how should she
Right.
dress, and how should she
Right.
talk, and what is allowed in the bedroom at that age? And I went out there and I just said, here I am. I'm going to show
Yeah.
you.
The
Literally, I'm going
hell with
to show
all the
you.
rules. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Exactly. And so, in turn, it has normalized a lot of the conversations around sex. But I am
Hmm.
still shocked that men my age or older are still so prude in the bedroom.
Yes.
Generationally,
Yes.
they are not
Yes.
the explorers.
They're
They're
not.
terrified to do anything other than what they know. Like, I had
Hmm.
one guy come in, I had to teach him how to eat pussy because he'd never done it before. I have one guy that I'm going to be booking that has never had an orgasm or a blow job that wasn't just by his own hand. Like,
Oh
it's
gosh.
heartbreaking sometimes to see just how depleted many people's sex lives are. So when I talk about my sex life, I thought I had it bad when it was like 3 years and nothing. Despite my best intentions or efforts, he had issues and he just
Hmm.
stopped trying and would be
Hmm.
avoidant.
Okay.
Guys, even when they're single, they just stop trying to date because they don't feel like they can perform or please in bed. And then they end up coming to me to learn how to do that so that they can feel confident in the dating world. And like I said, I'm very affirming in the bedroom. People can come in for a kink session, they can come in for a porn star experience. They can come in for like I you haven't lived life until you have been legally paid to peg a cop. I mean, like, I have so
Listen.
many
Listen.
stories, like,
So
there's so many things. But
what
guys,
is the porn star experience? What does that include?
it's a
Versus you
different
said this
energy.
girlfriend.
It's usually
Okay.
messier, louder, a lot more positions, more high energy. Like, I can go from cowgirl to reverse cowgirl without a dismount. Okay,
Okay.
like it's um it's harder, it's faster, and the girlfriend experience is more sensual and cuddling
Okay.
and kissing and more
Mhm.
affection and touchy feely, whereas the porn star experience is just getting just getting railed. And
So do you
not
find
just
that
that, but it incorporates a lot more what you see on porn. It's more like
okay?
that. It mimics it.
So do you find that men prefer one over the other?
See, variety is the spice of life, I always say. I think men get
Okay.
comfortable with one thing, they get intimidated by expanding it, or if they do have an interest in expanding it, they don't know who they're safe to do it with. For
I mean, with
instance,
you. So
with
so
me,
when they book when they book with you, do you find that more men book the porn star experience versus the girlfriend experience, or vice versa?
it's mostly girlfriend experience.
Okay.
Fantasy wise, the porn star experience comes into play quite a bit. So it's not like I
Okay.
rarely do porn star experience, but they have to start with the girlfriend experience to earn that
Okay.
trust and familiarity. And I have
Okay.
a really high retention rate for a reason.
Okay.
I learn a lot about somebody even in 1 hour together with them. I learn how their body is
Okay.
responding to things. I'm very trauma informed. The body follows the mind. So I connect with them in multiple ways, not just physically. And so I'll find out what their fantasies are that they've never told anyone. They wouldn't
Okay.
dare, but they could keep a secret with me. And then when I
Okay.
found out what their secret fantasy is, or what they fantasize about, or what they search for when they're, searching for porn on the internet, many of them want a threesome. I think
Hmm.
that's the bigger request is the
Okay.
threesomes. And so sometimes I'll say, well, would you like to have just kind of a tastings event of a threesome where if their budget really wasn't big enough to book two girls for like a whole evening type thing, I would just pull one of my friends in for maybe 15 minutes and we'd do like a double
Okay.
blow job. So he'd get a taste
Okay.
of it. That's why I call it a tastings event. And if you're in the kink and fetish and BDSM world, you know what that is.
Hmm.
And they get to have that experience and then get to know the girl that I pulled in for that type of booking and experience. And then maybe they'll save up and come back and book both of us for a longer amount of time. So, like, I introduce people, whether they ask for it directly or if they reveal in their conversation with me that they have this secret thing that they just don't know how to ask for or how to approach. I'm like, I got you, boo. I'll
What
make this happen for you.
what has been your like wildest or most outlandish request from a client?
See, there's been so many, okay, but I think
Okay.
one of the most memorable ones was the
Hmm.
day that I was at a brothel,
Okay.
yeah, just outside of Reno.
Hmm.
And one day, a guy came in full clown costume.
Okay.
And a lot of people are scared of clowns. So some of the girls literally, were called for this lineup. They come out to the parlor to line up. They see this clown and they ran. They turned around and
Okay.
ran and screamed, and I just sat there and I looked them up and down. I said, oh, hell yes.
Okay.
New kink unlocked, like
Okay.
so we booked time together, and it was hot. It was actually very hot to be able to fuck a clown in costume. It was amazing, and
So
I found out why
I
they
was
wear
gonna
good
ask.
shoes.
I was getting ready to ask that he keep the costume on.
Yes, for the majority of it, but by the time he left, he needed to clean up and shower, and
Hmm.
so I helped him with some makeup tips on how to get all that makeup off easier and stuff. Like, it was a great session. He was a great guy. Um, I've done some pretty cool stuff. I will say
Hmm.
that. I think that being able to sit down and have dinner with a guy and just I'm a no rush girl. And even
Okay.
though majority of bookings are paid for, like they're paid for a certain amount of time together and
Right.
you negotiate the activities and so on that you will do up front. I think that just sometimes the best parties are the ones where you slow dance together. And
Mm-hmm.
I had one guy that we had just gotten out of the shower. We had a hot and heavy session, got out of a shower. I had my music playing and I started singing to it. And I was like toweling off, and he came around the corner from his hopping out of the shower and he said, I love this song. Will you slow dance with me? And so we just slow danced wet and naked. And he started to cry. And I said, oh,
Mm.
honey, are you okay? And he said, I just don't want this moment to end. And he had
Oh.
tears down his face. Like there's so much touching moments that I get to
Mm-hmm.
have. So asking about the wildest, yeah, I've had lots of wild, but I've also had incredibly compassionate moments with these clients that I will never forget. And it drives me to keep doing it because I know that they're going to walk away a better person than when I received them, because I invest in them like they invest in me.
Yes, Miss Tori. Yes,
But it's
I love
true.
it.
But the wild stuff is
I,
fun. I mean,
I,
sometimes people say, I want you to pee on me. And I'm like chugging water before our session starts. You have to be hydrated for stuff like that. And so
you
I'm
do.
like, all right, babe, I'm putting you in the tub or a shower enclosure or whatever. Bombs away. They just love that. And so, like, I've done cool, amazing stuff that people might go and clutch their pearls,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in the kink world,
Mm-hmm.
that's nothing. It's
Yeah.
nothing.
And what I tell people is that whatever kink you're into, or you might think it's weird or whatever, there's somebody else who's also into that same kink, and so it's not as abnormal as you think it is. Just because you don't know anyone in your circle per se who does
Hmm.
it, people are into what you're into. Trust me.
Exactly. I will never yuck somebody's yum.
Correct.
The trend now is, we listen and we don't judge. Okay. So when
Right.
somebody says my kink is this, I see it even among sex workers, even in the brothels. A guy will come in for a kink session. He'll probably talk to the door person or the bartender because he's too nervous to do a lineup. Or maybe he will go to the website and look at which providers are kink friendly on their profile, and they'll say, I only want to talk to these two girls because we already know,
Mm-hmm.
we're the kinky bitches, and
Mm-hmm.
like I have full like BDSM everything. Like I'm a BDSM switch, so I can be submissive, I can be dominant, I can
Mm-hmm.
do both at the same time. So like I have a lot of skill sets, but sometimes people come in and they don't know how to ask the question because they've been shamed their whole life not to reveal it and to keep it a
Mm-hmm.
secret.
Mm-hmm.
And so amongst sex workers, sometimes they'll come in if they just are like, okay, I'm going to do lineup. They'll pick a girl, they'll go back and do a tour, go back to her room. She'll start talking about it. And it just kills me when girls go, ew, that's gross. I would never do that.
Right. Right.
Like, and so at one point I was a madam at one of the houses I worked at, and I taught them,
Mm-hmm.
listen, if it's not your thing, don't ever shame it, okay?
Right.
Because you are causing a lot of harm to
Harm.
people,
Mm-hmm.
even in your facial expressions or body expressions. It doesn't even have to be verbalized. You're like, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
don't do that. Even if it's not my thing, if I've gotten requests, scat, will you do that? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's too messy.
Right.
And
Not
I'm
my
the one
thing.
left for the cleanup, so that's not going to happen
Mm-hmm.
today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done, But also at the same time, I cater to ABDL clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that are not familiar with ABDL, and this gets a lot of shame, adult
Mm-hmm.
baby diaper lovers.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start talking about age play, people
Mm-hmm.
start throwing out the P word and so on. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if I have a client that wants to refer to me as mommy, then
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. It
Right.
doesn't make it incestuous. So
Right.
like kink positivity is my thing. But yes, a lot of kink requests do come through. I think that if people did their research, and people have, they pick up on that just by what I put out on social media, what I can get under the radar, to talk about kink positivity. But once they get into the brothels, a lot of the girls knew, oh, I don't do that, but Tori does. Would you like me to
Right.
introduce you to her, kind of thing? So I taught them, if it's not your thing, know which girl will do it and
Who-
introduce the
Right,
client. Don't just send them out the door
right,
feeling with their tail between their legs feeling shame.
right,
We just don't do
right,
that.
right, right. Don't
Not
do
on my
that, right,
watch.
right. And that's good. That's very good because you want people to feel like, I think one of my positives when it comes to men, men feel comfortable around me. Maybe it's because what I do for a living. So there's nothing that a man can tell me that's going to like shock me.
Mhm.
Um, men have told me all types of things they're into. I'm like, okay, cool. Some of the things they tell me I'm not into it, and that's still fine. But I don't shame them for it. I'm like, okay, cool.
Right.
There's a lot of people who into that, right? I normalize it and make them feel like they too are normal because they are. You just into a kink, but there are other people who also enjoy that kink. So yeah.
Mhm.
So
Well,
Miss.
it is a safe space. I create sanctuary for you to be 100%
Yes.
you, while I get to be
Yes.
100% me. And when you have that level of trust and understanding and transparency between each other, um, the types of activities and experiences that we can share together becomes even more profound. And
Right.
people can't approach a girl that they've been dating maybe for a couple of weeks, and the first time they're in the bedroom, they're not yet feeling safe just with vanilla sex, let alone to talk about kink and so on.
Right.
So a lot of times guys will come to me and go, my wife would absolutely have a coronary if I ever asked her to do this with me.
Yes. I
So they
found
will
that too. Hmm.
go to where they will have safe experiences.
Hmm.
They will go where they have the confidentiality and so on. Sometimes I'll ask them, have you asked her? And they will say, yeah, and it did not go over well. Just the fact
Yeah.
I asked almost led to divorce because how
Yeah.
dare I? Yeah.
Like we
And
want
that's
men to we
heartbreaking.
yeah, because we want men to be able to be open and to share, and then when they do
Mhm,
share, we shame them or
mhm.
make them feel like, oh, I would never do that. So then we shut them down, so they're not going to want to share again because of your response or how you
But
acted. So yeah.
interestingly, I have had wives bring their husband to the brothel for that specific thing because they know it's not their thing and they would much rather they go do the thing with someone that's been safely tested and has
Hmm.
protection and
Hmm.
professionalism and confidentiality. I did have a foursome. It was three girls and then the client. He was a priest, and his wife
Okay.
brings him every year
Okay.
to have these experiences. She comes in, has a drink with them, says, "See you later, honey, bye." And so this priest comes in and has, me and a couple other girls, and we have this great, all girl
Hmm.
orgy and him,
Hmm.
and everybody's happy at the end of the day. So understand that. Yes, we see clients that keep it a secret, but we also see clients whose wives say,
No.
that is
Hmm.
not something I feel comfortable with to do with you, but go for it, honey. And
Right.
here, let me help you. And I
And
love that.
I do too. I think those are like the best probably marriages. I think.
I know.
Yeah, those are the best ones.
I'm
So
that
Miss,
kind of person that would say, okay,
me
it's
too.
it's not your thing. I know a girl. You want me to
Right. That's
introduce you to
me
her?
too. Like I'm
I'm a
like I know someone
matchmaker.
we can. I can introduce you to somebody. So Miss Tori. So if someone was if someone's watching this and they would like to connect with you on like
Yes.
a personal, or not personal, like a business or whatever, what is your social media if you have
Okay.
one, or how can they connect with you?
They can go to torreylisa.com. It's spelled
Okay.
here on here, but it's TORREYLISA.com. It has a few of my social. It has my X, my YouTube, my OnlyFans, things like
Okay.
that. You can Google me and find me in a lot
Okay.
of different places. But if you wanted to have a one-on-one experience, just email me at booktorrey.com.
Okay.
And but you can follow me on Instagram. I'm like everywhere. And like I said, I'm loud and proud. And the places where I am allowed to get away with, showing nudity, like over on X and what have you, you'll see
Mm-hmm.
it. I do most of my chatting over on my OnlyFans. So
Okay.
your odds of getting me to reply to a private message on any social media is actually going to be on my OnlyFans page. And I'm
Okay.
very generous. I put free links out all the time. So there's no payment commitment to reach out. But that is the first place, and some days the only place that I will even poke my head in to talk to people.
Okay.
It could be months before I reply to a Twitter DM, you know?
Okay.
So OnlyFans is where you have your highest odds of actually talking to me.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Tori. This was a very fun conversation and
Thank
enlightening and
you.
insightful. I'm glad to have you on the show, and hopefully, someone watches this and learns something about sex work.